All right, we're back at it. I got a few good coats of primer on everything. I actually went back. I didn't get enough material down, so I actually went back and did a few more coats of primer. Now, we do have a little bit of orange peel look going on with the primer, but that's to be expected. I've got enough material on here that I can kind of sand it down all nice and smooth. Got my 320 sandpaper and also some maroon Scotch-Brite pads and a backing plate for the sandpaper. And that'll just help when you have a DA sander like this. Without a backing pad, if you run into a high spot, it can burn through pretty quick. The backing pad will just help kind of soften that out a bit. It will take the 320 from about a 320 grit roughness to more like a 400, a little bit smoother, but that's okay. Also, very important, we got some dry guide here. We're gonna go over all the surfaces with the dry guide before we sand. And this just really helps show you where you've sanded and where you haven't. One thing I've noticed when I'm sanding, I might go over one area 10 or 12 times, another area only a few times. I won't know that without the dry guide, but with the dry guide, it gives me a good indication of where I've been and where I haven't. So let's get to it. Now these maroon Scotch pads or stripping pads, those will really help get in these areas that are difficult to reach with the DA sander. Just kind of helps conform to those areas so we can sand those down. We'll start by getting a little coat of our dry guide on everything. This will really help us see where we've been with our sander. Our DA sander, we can evenly go over all the surfaces, being sure not to burn through any areas. We just want to smooth everything out. And we're back. It's actually a few days later. I've done a lot of sanding over the last few days. I ended up sanding everything just with the 320. And the reason is I've decided I'm not going to do a metallic. I'm going to go with just a solid color. You'll see that in the next video, my color when I do my big reveal. But because I'm not going to do a metallic, the 320 is a fine grit to sand down to. I double checked with my paint store and they said, yeah, 320, you'll be just fine. So I've got everything sanded down, nice and smooth. I'm ready to paint. The dry guide, you know, I did use that, but I still ended up burning through some areas. So I checked with my paint shop, and I don't have the can in here with me right now, but I ended up just buying a can of Rust-Oleum Automotive Primer, and I asked them like, hey, those little spots where I burned through, is it okay if I just take a little bit of rattle can primer and just... And the paint store said, yes, that is totally fine, won't be a problem at all. If you do that, let it dry for, I think the box or the can says let it dry for 4 hours. Let it dry good and then go back and scuff it with a Scotch-Brite pad or sand it a little bit just to rough it up, ready for paint. So that's where we're at. I've got a lot of wiping down to do. That's what I'm going to be doing, just wiping everything down, getting all the dust off. Right now I'm wiping down with just a lint-free rag and just getting all the dust off in water. Right tomorrow, I'm going to paint tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll wipe everything down with degreaser and wax remover, my mask on and everything. I'm wearing gloves because you don't want to get handprints on things. But that's where we're at. Tomorrow should be paint. Super exciting.